The U.S. is a tough one because, we have the notion of the First Amendment, and because you're anonymous online, it can be worse. Most of the time you're online, you're going to want to be in an environment where the people are truly identified.
But I am sure there should be, and there's got to be.
We can't carry on as we are.
The notion of the First Amendment, all those pesky inconveniences which stop gazillionaire megalomaniacs curating the world.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Open Your Eyes. Today we're diving into a hot topic that's sparking a lot of debate. We'll break down recent comments from Bill Gates and Tony Blair on privacy, free speech and technology. Plus we'll explore some intriguing insights from Bev Turner on GB News that might challenge the way you think about these issues. So, get ready as we dive into these ideas together.
There can be something quite touching about watching a gazillionaire megalomaniac grapple with the concept of the breathing human individual existing freely and with privacy inside the technosphere.
Every country struggling to find that boundary. The U.S. is a tough one because, we have the notion of the First Amendment.
Note the notion of the First Amendment. I think he just means the First Amendment, which exists to preserve free speech, freedom of religion, a free press, all those pesky inconveniences which stop gazillionaire megalomaniacs curating the world through their unique definition of truth.
And so what are the exceptions, like yelling fire in a theater?
Bill Gates is actually wrong about shouting fire in a theatre being an illegal exception to free speech. It isn't. Most people aren't stupid, even in America. And hearing fire won't cause a stampede, especially in the absence of smoke or your eyebrows heating up. But grasping that involves viewing humans as sentient beings rather than a mere monetizable data set. And of course, it has nothing whatsoever to do with anonymity. It's just a clever way of twisting your melons into thinking free speech shouldn't exist alongside privacy.
And because you're anonymous online, it can be worse.
Worse for who? Not a whistleblower scared for their job, or the anti-establishment voice calling out an authoritarian government and expecting a knock at the door from the thought police. It might be worse for powerful people trying to throw sand in your eyes to blur the threats of a digital ID system and the complete eradication of privacy. But remember, there are more of us than them, and having all your online activity tracked would completely change the way we exist online.
I do think over time, with things like deep fakes, most of the time you're online, you're going to want to be in an environment where the people are truly identified. That is, they're connected to a real world identity that you trust instead of just people saying whatever they want.
We can't have that. We can't have people saying whatever they want. What if they say mean things like they do in real life and have done since the beginning of time without humanity collapsing in on itself? Deep fakes, of course, can be potentially a bit confusing. They could be damaging even to some people. They can, of course, also be very funny. But remember, you'll only be allowed to laugh in the future if you have a high enough social credit score.
And so the idea of provenance, who sent me this email, was that really them? We're going to have systems and behaviors that we're more aware of. Okay, who says that? Who created this?
Or we can just expect people to behave better and not pretend to be someone else when sending an email. I don't know about you, but on the list of day-to-day problems, receiving emails from people pretending to be someone that they're not isn't exactly an hourly preoccupation. And if I do get one from a long-lost Nigerian cousin, I kind of work out they can find another way to get $5,000. Again, most people aren't mostly stupid. And the idea that online criminals won't find a way to continue being online criminals is either dishonest or naively utopian. Be very aware of men touching 70, knowing what's best for you. Here's another.
I certainly see a position where the world's going to have to come together and agree some rules around social media platforms. What the answer is and what the right system of regulation is, I'm not sure, but I am sure there should be. And there's got to be.
We can't carry on as we are.
But we can't carry on as we are.
Tony Blair there, claiming in his ever so reasonable way that he doesn't have all the answers, But if he does come up with one, you can bet there'd be just a little profit in it for his foundation. He is adamant, though, that we can't carry on as we are. Maybe, just maybe, he could have foreseen downsides to the tech revolution at some point over the past 30 years when he was the biggest cheerleader for it. Mobile phones are destroying our children's ability to concentrate for longer than 3 seconds. There isn't a parent on earth who hasn't wanted to throw a phone out of a car window. But in terms of allowing young people access to various sources of information, citizen journalism and multiple news sites, instead of state-sponsored propaganda, the internet is vital. Even more so if everybody can journey around it with privacy.
First off, let's delve into Bill Gates' recent remarks. Gates suggests that our digital world might need new rules to balance privacy and safety, arguing that limiting certain freedoms could be necessary to prevent harm. But here's where it gets interesting. Bev Turner raises an intriguing point. There's something almost ironic about watching a tech billionaire wrestle with the idea of free speech and privacy. Are Gates' proposals generally about protecting us, or could they be about controlling our digital lives? Next, let's turn our attention to Tony Blair, who's calling for tighter regulations to address the impact of the tech revolution. Blair acknowledges that technology has transformed our world, but insists we need stricter rules to manage its effects. Bev Turner highlights Blair's past enthusiasm for tech advancements and questions whether his current stance represents a genuine shift or a strategic manoeuvre. Instead of more regulations, what if we focused on transparency and empowering individuals? How might this change our interaction with technology and each other? Bev Turner also emphasises a critical perspective. Gates and Blair's viewpoints might reflect a broader trend where tech elites and former leaders propose solutions that fit their vision of the world. But could these solutions create more problems than they solve? Imagine a future where every online action is monitored in the name of safety. Could this stifle the creativity and freedom that we cherish? As we reflect on Gates and Blair's views alongside Bev Turner's insights, let's challenge ourselves to think outside the box. What if we could design a digital future that truly balances innovation with freedom? What would that look like, and how can we work towards making it a reality? Before we wrap up, let's consider what we've discussed today. Gates and Blair have shared their perspectives, but Bev Turner's insights remind us to question and critically evaluate these viewpoints. Are their proposals the right path, or is there a more promising direction we haven't yet explored? Love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and let's keep the conversation going. If you enjoyed this discussion and want to explore more topics like this, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe and ring the bell for future updates. Until next time, stay curious and keep challenging the status quo.